ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما والحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. أما بعد. Before we start the hadith, inshallah, there's going to be qiyam tonight, correct? Right? There's going to be qiyam tonight, 4 rak'at. So we'll have the hadith short, so we give time for the brothers. So join the brothers for this qiyam. It's going to be an optional prayer, 4 rak'at, 4 units. And then after that, there's going to be dua for everyone, especially Al-Ghazza, inshallah. So please join them and for the encouragement. جزاكم الله خير. يروي الإمام البخاري في صحيحه بسند صحيح عن عبد الله بن وهب رضي الله تعالى عنه وارضاه قال آخى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين سلمان وأبي الدرداء. So this hadith is an anecdote between two of the companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, big companions. يعني they were they were old in age, and also they were very like part of the close circle to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. They're not light, they're heavy gauge, so to speak, Sahaba. Salman, who is known as Salman al-Farisi, who has a very interesting story. He adopted every single faith actually before settling for Islam, and he kept traveling from Persia to Bilad al-Sham to different places, and then he settled in Medina, and he has a beautiful story. I'm not going to tell you his story today, but inshallah we'll talk about it some other time. And Abu Darda also is one of the heavy gauge Sahaba, and in this hadith, Sayyidina Salman teaches Abu Darda something, a very powerful lesson. And Abu Darda is also everyone in Bilad al-Sham owes Abu Darda something. He's the scholar of scholars of Bilad al-Sham. When he went to Bilad al-Sham, and I think he's still buried there, he spread Islam there in Bilad al-Sham. But this little story is something between the two, like a little story, a little anecdote between the two Sahaba. So آخى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين سلمان وأبي الدرداء. At the first few years of migration, the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, now it's abrogated, it's cancelled afterwards, would pick two Sahaba and merge their families together. So akha is to make them brothers, and they used to actually live together. They used to even inherit each other. It was true brotherhood. This was abrogated later on. It doesn't, like, you can't do this now. Fazara. So anyway, so he merged between Salman and Abu Darda. Salman was an inhabitant of Medina. Abu Darda was an immigrant, and then they lived together. Fazara Salman Abu Darda. So he visited him one day. فوجد الدرداء, which is the wife of Abu Darda, متبذلة. He saw her. She's wearing like shabby clothes. It's just not her usual, like not very well kept, she didn't take care of the way she was dressed up. فقال ما شأنك? He said, what's going on with you? He said, so she complained about her husband right away. She said, إن أخاك أبا الدرداء ليس له حاجة في الدنيا. That your brother Abu Darda, that you're coming here to visit, really has no interest in life. He's so not interested in anything. He's all about prayer and all about ibad and all about worship. Then so he didn't say anything. فجاء أبو الدرداء. He came back. He wasn't there. فجاء أبو الدرداء فصنع طعاما فقال كل إني صائم. So Abu Darda, on top of it, he came back and he saw his brother, and they said, okay, let's make some food. He made some food and he presented it to him, and he said, you eat. I'm fasting. On top of that. فقال سلمان ما أنا بآكل حتى تأكل. No, this is not going to work. Today is an optional day of fasting. It's not Ramadan. I'm not eating until you eat with me. You break your fast. So he did. He made him. And this is also, like, scholars learned that if you're fasting, it's an optional and a day of fasting, and you have your guests. Please don't say, oh, you eat, I'm fasting. Don't say that. It's okay. Probably you get more ajr by actually eating with them and making them feel comfortable and welcome. It looks very awkward, when the host is not eating and the guests are eating and they're looking at them. When are you going to be done and go, basically, right? So subhanAllah, the scholars learn a little bit of an advice from that, a little bit of a piece of knowledge from that. So he said, no, I'm not eating until you eat. So فأكل. فلما كان الليل ذهب أبو الدرداء يقوم فقال نم. فنام ثم ذهب يقوم فقال نم فنام. And then when the night came and they were sleeping, of course Salman was sleeping, went to bed. Abu Darda stood up. He wants to pray because this is his habit. He prays all night long. So Salman was like, no, what are you doing? Sleep. So he acknowledged. He didn't argue. He slept. See how easygoing. Yani he's breaking his habit for his guest, for his brother, basically. And then an hour later, Abu Darda thought that Salman has fallen asleep. He stood up to pray. No, the Salman was not asleep. He said, no, sit. No, it's not time for you. And he went back to sleeping. فلما كان من آخر الليل قال الآن فقم فقاما فصليا جميعا. At the end, an hour before Salat al-Fajr, he told them now is the time for us to get up. And they stood and they prayed together. And then he gave them a piece of advice, which is the hadith. فقال سلمان إن لربك عليك حق وإن لبدنك عليك حق وإن لأهلك عليك حق أو لنفسك عليك حق فأعطي كل ذي حق حقه. That you have certain obligation towards your Lord, so give him that. And you have certain obligation to yourself. You got to eat and feed yourself and take care of yourself, because this body you're entrusted with this body, and you have to take care of it. So give it give it its dues. And also your family has has an obligation. You have an obligation towards your family, so do that. So therefore, and I'll continue the hadith. فذكر ذلك إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال صدق سلمان. So the next day, Abu Darda was like, okay, I'm not sure. He's telling me not to reduce my acts of worship, to reduce my prayer. I'm not sure how this goes. So he asked the Prophet. He said, this is what happened last night. He said, yeah. So, Salman is right. This is how we do it. This balance. So there's a lot of things to learn from this. In addition to the way that Abu Darda treated his guest, that I'm changing my own habits and being very, very flexible and lenient with my guest. On top of it, this balance between. Now, I'm not saying this because we pray all night long. Maybe not. But the balance is important. Therefore, scholars always said that you split your time in 3 parts. Now, they might not be equal parts. Yani the day is 24 hours. It's not 8 plus 8 plus 8. It might not be like that. But you should sit with your family and with your children, with your wife, until you feel that, we're good, you had good time. But also you sit with yourself. You have to sleep well, and you have to take care of yourself, and you have to do, you have a good lifestyle. But also you don't forget the act of worship. We were talking about this earlier. The Prophet ﷺ gave Sayyidina Abu Bakr the best compliment of anyone that can get. He said that Abu Bakr is not ahead of you because he prays a lot and he fasts a lot. This is not why. Maybe he does, but that's not why. ولكن فضلكم بسر وقر في قلبه. But he's better than you, than all of you, because he has something in his heart. There's something that that drives him to always be the best at everything. Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So sometimes it's like that. The last thing I want to talk about is see the value. And now I'm not saying both Sayyidina Salman and Abu Darda are scholars of scholars of the highest gauge. But at that point, Abu Darda was Sayyidina Salman's student. He learned from him a valuable lesson. So it goes to tell you that al-alim, a knowledgeable person, is always more impactful in the community than a pious person. It's not enough for you. If you're pious, you're good for yourself, really. But if you're pious and knowledgeable, then your benefit will spread out to other people. I'll end with this. They say that one scholar is heavier and more antagonizing to shaitan, to the devil, than 1,000 pious people. What? Right? Why? Because this knowledgeable person, this scholar, knows how to get out of big problems. But a pious person, you might throw any type of red herring in front of them, they don't know how to get out of it. But a scholar knows how to correct the journey, so to speak. So I'll end with this. يروي الإمام البخاري في صحيحه بسند صحيح عن عبد الله بن وهب رضي الله تعالى عنه وارضاه قال آخى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين سلمان وأبي الدرداء فزار سلمان أبا الدرداء فوجد أم الدرداء متبذلة، فقال ما شأنك؟ قالت إن أخاك أبا الدرداء ليس له حاجة في الدنيا. فجاء أبو الدرداء فصنع طعاما فقال كل إني صائم، فقال ما أنا بآكل حتى تأكل، فأكل. فنام. فلما كان الليل ذهب يقوم فقال نم فنام، ثم ذهب يقوم فقال نم فنام، ثم إذا كان من آخر الليل فلما كان من آخر الليل قال الآن فقم، فقاما فصليا جميعا. ثم قال يعني سيدنا سلمان إن لربك عليك حق، وأن لنفسك عليك حق، وأن لأهلك عليك حقا، فأعط كل ذي حق حقه. فذكر ذلك لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال صدق سلمان. وصلى الله على حبيبنا وسيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك.